The underestimated defense. Admiral Koravesh of the Xantari Dominion leaned back in her command chair, mandibles twitching with barely concealed amusement. The holographic display before her showed the pathetic human vessel that dared to represent Earth in the upcoming military exercise. The Dominion had ruled this sector for over 15 centuries, their technological prowess unchallenged until these mammals had stumbled into faster-than-light travel barely 70 Earth years ago. These humans truly believe their single vessel can stand against a Dominion battle group? She asked, her crystalline eyes reflecting the tactical display. Her second-in-command, Commander Lax, fluttered his wing membranes in their species equivalent of a shrug. The Earth Alliance insists their new prototype implements revolutionary defensive capabilities. Their representative was quite passionate during the Galactic Council session. Passion without power is merely noise, Cora replied, rising from her chair to examine the human ship more closely. The HSV Defiant. No visible weapons arrays, minimal armor plating, and an unusual propulsion system our sensors cannot fully analyze. She clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. Interesting, but irrelevant. Prepare the demonstration fleet. 20 vessels should suffice to teach these humans their proper place. Across the void of space, aboard the human space vessel Defiant, Captain Maya Chen reviewed final system checks while trying to ignore the knot in her stomach. At 32, she was young for command of such a vital mission, but no one understood the resonance field technology better. She had helped design it after all. All systems nominal, Captain, reported Lieutenant Vikram Singh from the tactical station. The Xantari fleet is moving into position. 20 warships, as expected. Maya nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the approaching formation, exactly as intelligence predicted. Arrogant to the end. She tapped her comm link. Dr. Okafor, status of the resonance field. From engineering, Dr. Nia Okafor's calm voice replied, charged and ready, Captain. The power core is stable at 94% capacity, more than enough for what we have planned. And they still can't detect it? Maya asked. Not a chance, Nia replied with quiet confidence. The field exists partially outside normal spacetime until activated. To their sensors, we're just running an unusually efficient fusion reactor. Maya took a deep breath. 7 years of research, countless simulations, and 3 prototype failures had led to this moment. Earth's survival potentially hung in the balance. The Xantari Dominion had been steadily expanding, consuming the resources of conquered worlds while relegating their inhabitants to second-class status or worse. Earth had rejected their protection treaty 6 months ago, and the Dominion's response had been predictable. The military exercise in the edges of Earth's solar system as a show of force. What the Dominion didn't know was that humanity had been preparing for this moment since first contact 3 decades ago. Incoming transmission from the Xantari flagship, announced Communications Officer Elizabeth Yamamoto. On screen, Maya ordered, straightening her uniform jacket. Admiral Kora's insectoid features filled the view screen, her mandibles held high in a posture of superiority. Captain Chen of Earth, this demonstration will establish the natural order between our civilizations. Your single vessel against 20 of our warships should settle any questions about which species deserves to lead. Surrender now, and we may consider more favorable terms in our protection treaty. Maya maintained a neutral expression. Admiral Vesh, we recognize your presence in neutral space for this agreed-upon exercise. The HSV Defiant will demonstrate Earth's defensive capabilities exactly once. I recommend you observe carefully, as there will not be a second demonstration. Laughter echoed from the Xantari bridge, a clicking, chittering sound that sent chills down human spines. Your species' overconfidence is matched only by your technological inadequacy, Cora replied. But please, demonstrate your capabilities. The transmission ended, and Maya turned to her bridge crew. All stations, defensive posture Alpha. Dr. Okafor, prepare the resonance field for targeted discharge. Xantari vessels are powering weapons, Vikram reported tensely. Targeting solutions locked on us. They're firing. Brilliant beams of energy lanced out from the Xantari warships, converging on the Defiant's position. For a heart-stopping moment, the bridge crew held their breath. "Now, Dr. Okafor," Maya ordered calmly. The resonance field activated, surrounding the Defiant in a barely visible shimmer. The Xantari weapon beams struck the field and vanished. Not reflected, not absorbed. They simply ceased to exist upon contact with the field. "Field holding stable at 91% capacity," reported Nia from engineering. "No structural stress detected. The energy conversion is working perfectly." On the Xantari flagship, Admiral Cora stared in disbelief. "What happened to our weapons fire? Scan that vessel again. Energy signatures are fluctuating." "Admiral," Commander Lax replied, his compound eyes wide with confusion. "The human vessel appears to be generating some form of localized space-time distortion that's intercepting our energy weapons and redirecting them somewhere else." "Impossible," Cora hissed. "No species at their development stage could possibly." "Admiral," interrupted the tactical officer, "the human vessel is powering up. We're detecting an enormous energy buildup." Back on the Defiant, Maya gave the order they'd been waiting for. "Activate resonance pulse, targeted dispersal. Aim for their weapon systems only." Nita's fingers flew across her engineering console, configuring field harmonics to target Xantarium alloy molecular structures. "Pulse ready in 3, 2, 1. The Defiant pulsed once, releasing a wave of distorted spacetime that expanded outward like ripples in a pond. When it reached the Xantari fleet, it passed through their hulls as if they weren't there. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with eerie synchronization, the weapon systems on all 20 Xantari warships began to disintegrate, not explode, but unravel at the molecular level, component atoms dispersing harmlessly into space. What is happening?" Admiral Cora demanded, watching in horror as her ship's primary disruptor cannon dissolved before her eyes. "The weapons arrays are experiencing molecular destabilization at the quantum level," her science officer reported, voice trembling. "The effect is targeting only our offensive systems while leaving life support and structural integrity intact." Maya reopened the communication channel. "Admiral Vesh, as you can see, the resonance field technology allows us to selectively destabilize molecular bonds of specific materials. We targeted only your weapons this time." She paused, letting the implications sink in. "We could just as easily have targeted your life support systems or structural integrity fields." For the first time in her long military career, Admiral Cora felt true fear. This technology violates natural law. It cannot be. "Not a violation, Admiral. Simply an application of quantum principles your scientists haven't yet discovered," Maya replied evenly. "Earth has no interest in conquest or dominance, unlike the Xantari Dominion. We seek only peaceful coexistence and our rightful place in the galactic community." She leaned forward slightly. "Return to your territory. Inform your leadership that Earth's protection treaty is no longer being considered. Instead, we will be preparing our own terms for mutual non-aggression, which we expect your council to review within one standard cycle." Without waiting for a response, Maya cut the transmission. She turned to her crew, who remained at their stations, tense but proud. "Well done, everyone," she said quietly. "Especially you, Dr. Okafor. Your resonance field theory just changed humanity's future." Nia smiled tiredly. "It was a team effort, Captain, but they won't underestimate us again." "No," Maya agreed, watching as the disarmed Xantari fleet began a hasty retreat. "That's precisely what I'm concerned about. Their next move won't be so straightforward." She turned to her tactical officer. "Lieutenant Singh, contact Earth Defense Command. Tell them Operation First Stand was successful, but to prepare for Phase 2. "What's Phase 2? Asked Eliza from Communications. Maya's expression grew grim. "The Xantari never accept defeat. They'll be back, with something they think can counter our technology." She gazed at the retreating alien ships. "And we need to be ready when they come." As the Defiant set course for Earth, news of the encounter spread rapidly through subspace communications. Across the galaxy, other species who had long suffered under Xanteri oppression watched with newfound hope. Perhaps the natural order was about to change after all. Meanwhile, in the depths of Xanteri space, Admiral Cora faced the Dominion High Command, her mandibles low in humiliation as she explained how 20 warships had been neutralized by a single human vessel. "These humans," observed Supreme Overlord Xar, his ancient eyes narrowing, "they are more dangerous than we anticipated." "They must be eliminated," insisted War Minister Vex. "Their technology threatens our supremacy." "No," Xar decided after a moment of contemplation. "We must learn this technology. Capture it. And to do that, we need our best." He turned to his console and entered a command. "Summon Commander Zith and the Void Hunters. It's time to show these humans the true might of the Dominion." As the orders went out, a sleek, midnight black Xanteri warship detached from a hidden station in the outer reaches of their home system. Aboard, Commander Zith, the most decorated fighter pilot in Dominion history, received his mission briefing with cold anticipation. "Humans," he chittered to his elite squadron of pilots, "prepare yourselves, Void Hunters. We hunt for new prey." The turning point. 2 Earth months had passed since the Defiant's demonstration against the Xanteri fleet. Earth's defense forces remained on high alert, knowing the Dominion would not accept their humiliation lightly. The resonance field technology had been rapidly deployed to Earth's defense platforms and a small fleet of prototype vessels, but resources were limited. The technology required rare elements and precise manufacturing that couldn't be rushed. Captain Maya Chen had been promoted to fleet commander, overseeing the integration of the new technology across Earth's defensive network. She stood in the command center of Lunar Base Alpha, studying the tactical display with Defense Minister Rodrigo Alvarez. "Our intelligence networks report unusual movement in the Xanteri territories," Alvarez said, his weathered face grave. "They're mobilizing their elite forces." Maya nodded. "The Void Hunters. We've heard the stories." "More than stories," Alvarez replied. "Our deep cover agents confirm Commander Zith personally leads them. The most decorated fighter pilot in Dominion history. Never lost a battle. They've developed some kind of countermeasure against the resonance field, though we don't know exactly what." Maya studied the projected flight paths of the approaching Xanteri forces. "They're not bringing a massive fleet this time. Smaller, faster ships. They've adapted their strategy." "Which means we need to adapt ours," Alvarez agreed. "The Council has authorized your recommendation. Lieutenant Alex Reyes has been assigned to the Defiant." Maya raised an eyebrow. That was faster than expected. The military brass usually takes weeks to approve experimental pilot transfers. When the pilot in question has the highest neural synchronization scores ever recorded, exceptions get made, Alvarez replied with a hint of a smile. "Besides, Rice has been persistent about joining your crew." In the simulator chamber aboard the Defiant, Lieutenant Alex Reyes removed the neural interface helmet and ran a hand through his sweat-dampened hair. The holographic display showed his results: 98.7% synchronization with the ship's resonance field control systems. A new record. "You're pushing yourself too hard," Dr. Nia Okafor observed from the monitoring station. "Neural burnout is a real risk with sustained high-level synchronization." Alex stretched, wincing at the stiffness in his shoulders. At 28, he was the youngest advanced tactical pilot in Earth's defense forces, but his record spoke for itself. 3 years as an atmospheric fighter pilot, 2 more in conventional spacecraft, and now this, direct neural link piloting with the most advanced ship in Earth's arsenal. "The Xanteri won't give us time to rest, Doctor," he replied. "And if the intel about Commander Zith is accurate, we'll need every advantage." "The resonance field wasn't designed for the maneuvers you're attempting," Nea cautioned. "It's a defensive technology, not an offensive weapon system. Alex's eyes lit up with that familiar intensity that made senior officers both appreciate and worry about him. But that's exactly why it will work. The Xantari expect us to use it defensively. They're coming with countermeasures for a defensive application. If we can reconfigure the field for offensive maneuvering. You mean using the field's space-time distortion properties to enhance the ship's movement rather than just as a protective barrier? Naya finished, understanding dawning. Exactly. A quantum slipstream controlled by neural interface. The field bends space around the ship, letting us move in ways that defy conventional physics. Nia considered the concept, running calculations in her head. It's theoretically possible, but the power requirements would be enormous, and the stress on both the pilot and the ship, which is why we need to try it in controlled conditions before we're forced to attempt it in combat, Alex insisted. Their discussion was interrupted by the arrival of Maya Chen. Lieutenant Reyes, she said with a formal nod. Your reputation precedes you. Alex snapped to attention. Commander Chen, it's an honor to join your crew. Maya's expression remained professional, but there was a glint of approval in her eyes as she glanced at his simulator results. At ease, Lieutenant. Dr. Okafor has been filling me in on your creative approach to the resonance field technology. With respect, Commander, we need to evolve our tactics. The Xantari will have analyzed our previous encounter thoroughly. I agree, Maya said, surprising him. That's why you're here. You've been cleared for a live test of your neural piloting concept. We have a 4-hour window before the Defiant needs to join the defensive line. Alex couldn't hide his excitement. Thank you, Commander. You won't regret this. Maya's expression turned serious. See that I don't, Lieutenant. The fate of Earth may well depend on what we discover today. 2 days later, the proximity alarms blared across Earth's defense network. A Xantari battle group had emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. But unlike the previous encounter, this force was composed of 12 sleek, black vessels that moved with unprecedented agility. The Void Hunters, Maya confirmed, taking her position on the Defiance Bridge. Everyone to battle stations. Lieutenant Reyes, prepare for neural interface. In the specialized pilot chamber, Alex settled into the control cradle as technicians attached the neural links to his flight suit. Unlike conventional ship controls, the cradle would translate his neural impulses directly into ship movements, allowing reaction times impossible with manual controls. Neural synchronization at 97.2% and climbing, reported Dr. Okafor from the engineering station on the bridge. Resonance field configured for tactical maneuvering as well as defense. All systems online. Vikram confirmed from tactical. The rest of the defense fleet is moving into supporting positions. Maya opened a channel to the approaching Xantari vessels. Xantari forces, this is Commander Maya Chen of Earth Defense. You are entering sovereign Earth space without authorization. Withdraw immediately. The response came swiftly, the visual channel showing an imposing Xantari with jet-black exoskeleton and scarlet markings that denoted elite military status. Commander Chen. I am Commander Zith of the Dominion Void Hunters. Your previous demonstration was impressive, but ultimately irrelevant. Today, you faced the true might of the Xantari Dominion. We have no desire for conflict, Commander, Maya replied evenly. But we will defend our system. Zith's mandibles clicked in what humans had learned was amusement. Defense is no longer an option available to you. The transmission cut off abruptly. They're launching fighter craft, Vikram reported tensely. And something's different. Their energy signatures are fluctuating in patterns similar to our resonance field. Maya's eyes widened. They've developed a countermeasure already. Not quite, Naya replied, analyzing the readings. It's more like they've created a disruptive field that might destabilize our resonance field if they get close enough. They can't replicate our technology, but they found a way to potentially neutralize it. Lieutenant Reyes, Maya called over the comm. Are you seeing this? In the pilot chamber, Alex studied the tactical display through his neural interface. I see it, Commander. They've adapted faster than expected. He took a deep breath, focusing his mind as he practiced countless times in the simulator. Request permission to engage using protocol quantum dash. There was a moment of hesitation before Maya replied. Permission granted. The rest of the fleet will provide cover. Show us what you can do, Lieutenant. The Void Hunters struck first, their fighters moving in perfect, practiced formation. Unlike the previous Antari force, these pilots displayed extraordinary skill, their ships dancing through space with almost organic grace. The Earth Defense Fleet engage, resonance fields activated, but the Xantari fighters didn't fire directly at the ships as expected. Instead, they launched proximity mines that detonated near the Earth vessels, creating localized disturbances that weakened the resonance fields without actually touching them. Clever, Maya murmured. They found the resonance frequency that disrupts our fields. 3 Earth ships had already lost resonance field integrity and were retreating to defensive positions. The Void Hunters pressed their advantage, their black ships moving so quickly they appeared as little more than blurs on the tactical displays. Lieutenant Rice, we're losing our defensive advantage, Maya warned. If you're going to act, now would be the time. In the pilot chamber, Alex felt the ship as an extension of his own body through the neural interface. He closed his eyes, visualizing the space around the Defiant, feeling the quantum possibilities. Initiating quantum dash, he said quietly. The Defiant's resonance field shifted, no longer just a defensive barrier but a manipulation of space-time itself. The ship seemed to blur, then vanish, reappearing instantly 2 kilometers away, behind 3 Xantari fighters. How? Vikram began in astonishment. He's using the field to fold space around the ship, Niyat explained, her voice filled with wonder as she watched her creation being used in ways she hadn't imagined. Not moving through space, but bringing different points in space together momentarily. The Xantari fighters spun in confusion, their formation broken. Before they could regroup, the Defiant blurred again, appearing directly in their midst, not firing weapons, but using its mere presence to disrupt their carefully planned attack. On the Xantari command ship, Commander Zith watched in mounting frustration as the human vessel performed maneuvers that should have been physically impossible. The human ship is using some variant of quantum displacement, his science officer reported. Our disruptors aren't effective against a field that's constantly shifting its resonance frequency. Deploy the phase cannons, Zith ordered coldly. If we cannot disable their field, we will overwhelm it with raw power. The command ship's massive cannons charge, gathering energy that would be sufficient to vaporize a small moon. But before they could fire, the Defiant appeared directly above them, its resonance field pulsing in a new pattern. What are they doing? Demanded Zith. The human ship is singing to us, the science officer replied in confusion. Explain. Their resonance field is emitting modulated quantum pulses that are harmonizing with our ship's atomic structure. Not destructively, but... He paused, checking his readings again. They're creating a standing wave pattern through our hull. If they wanted to, they could shatter us like crystal. Alex's voice came over the communication channel, surprisingly calm despite the intense neural load he was bearing. Commander Zith, your phase cannons have been temporarily locked in a quantum stasis field. They'll remain charged but unable to fire for approximately 30 minutes after we depart. I recommend using that time to reconsider your position. Zith's compound eyes narrowed. What prevents us from firing once the effect dissipates? You cannot maintain your position indefinitely. Through the neural interface, Alex smiled though Zith couldn't see it. Nothing prevents you from firing later. But by then, every ship in your squadron will have had a similar field applied, staggered to expire at different times. You won't be able to coordinate an effective attack. He paused, letting his words sink in. More importantly, we've just demonstrated that we can neutralize your weapons without destroying your ships or harming your crews. This was not a fight, Commander Zith. It was a conversation. On the Defiance Bridge, Maya watched the exchange with a mixture of awe and concern. Lieutenant Rice was pushing both himself and the technology to its limits, but he was right. This approach might actually open a dialogue rather than escalate the conflict. Commander Zith, she added, joining the conversation. Earth has no interest in Xantari destruction or humiliation. We seek only peaceful coexistence and recognition of our sovereignty. Today has proven that neither of our civilizations can achieve total dominance over the other, but we can choose cooperation instead of endless conflict. There was a long silence from the Xantari vessel. Finally, Commander Zith responded, his tone different, not defeated, but thoughtful. In 15 centuries of combat, I have never encountered an adversary who could outmaneuver the Void Hunters, he admitted. Your pilot's skill is exceptional. As is yours, Commander, Alex replied respectfully. That split helix formation your 3rd Squadron executed was something I'll be studying for years. Another pause, then. The Dominion will not easily accept this outcome. Change never comes easily, Maya observed, but it comes nonetheless. Perhaps you and I can be the catalysts for a different relationship between our peoples. Zith seemed to consider this. I will convey your proposal to the High Command. Until then, a temporary cessation of hostilities may be pragmatic. After the communication ended, Maya immediately ordered, medical team to the pilot chamber. Lieutenant Reyes, disengage neural interface. When they reached him, Alex was barely conscious, blood trickling from his nose. The neural load of manipulating the resonance field with such precision had pushed him beyond safe limits. Worth it, he murmured as the medical team transferred him to a stretcher. Maya looked down at the exhausted pilot. You took an incredible risk, Lieutenant. Sometimes, that's the only way forward, he replied weakly. Did it work? Maya nodded. The Void Hunters are withdrawing. And yes, I think it worked. You didn't just show them our strength, you showed them another path. As the Defiant returned to Earth orbit, news of the encounter spread quickly. The Xantari Dominion, for the first time in its long history, had requested formal diplomatic talks rather than dictating terms. Other species throughout the sector watched with renewed hope as humanity's approach opened possibilities that centuries of resistance had not achieved. In the Defiant's medical bay, Alex Reyes recovered slowly, the neural pathways in his brain healing from the extreme synchronization. Maya visited daily, bringing updates on the diplomatic process and the continuing refinement of the resonance field technology. The Galactic Council has agreed to mediate talks between Earth and the Dominion, she informed him one afternoon. And 3 other species have requested our assistance with Xantari negotiations. Alex smiled tiredly. So we've gone from barely tolerated newcomers to mediators in a few months. It appears so. Maya sat beside his bed. Dr. Okafor says your neural pathways are showing remarkable recovery. She wants to discuss modifications to the interface system based on your experience. Always looking to improve her creation, Alex chuckled. That's humanity's greatest strength, isn't it? Maya mused. Not the technology itself, but our ability to adapt it, to see possibilities where others see only limitations. She looked out the viewport at Earth glowing blue and green below them. The Xantari had 15 centuries to explore quantum mechanics, yet they never developed anything like the resonance field. Because they were too focused on weapons and control, Alex suggested. They sought to dominate rather than understand. Maya nodded thoughtfully. And perhaps that's the real lesson here. Not that humanity defeated the mighty Xantari, but that we offered them a new perspective. She stood, straightening her uniform. Rest up, Lieutenant. Once you're cleared for duty, there's a new position waiting for you, Chief Flight Instructor for the Resonance Corps. We need more pilots who can think outside conventional boundaries. As she left, Alex looked out at the stars, contemplating the future that was unfolding. Humanity had entered the galactic stage not as conquerors or subjects, but as innovators and mediators, turning potential enemies into reluctant partners through ingenuity rather than force. It wasn't peace, not yet, But it was a beginning. And sometimes, that was enough to change everything.